Welcome back to the second episode of Boundary Breakers. Yes, it's happening, it's the second episode. Now, on this episode, it's going to be a bit along my lines of, what's the word? Expertise. The NES. God, that light's bright. Oh, don't suppose you noticed that I'm on the opposite side of the shed. Man cave, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's coming along. There is more space. So there will be a tour of the room rather shortly. You can see a few tidbits hanging about. Game Boy printer, Subscope, Guitar Hero, and Tony Hawk's Ride. They were a barrel of laughs, weren't they? Yeah, but that is still to come. More importantly, this video, which is the NES. Yes, the good old NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Sounds broken. Lift the lid on this thing. Seems alright under the hood. There we go. Better. Needs a bit of oil. Nothing in there.
It was released in 1983 in Japan.
Okay, random. Yes. I know. Might I just say it was 1984. The following year, in 1985, it got released in North America. 1986. All of Europe, and then strangely enough 1987 PAL release again, but it was Australia. And even stranger than that, Brazil. Yes, it got a release in Brazil in 1992.
No, Mark, it wasn't 92, it's 93. Okay, get your facts right.
And might I say, the Brazilian console wasn't even an official console from Nintendo, it was a clone. And stranger still, in 1989, it got a release in South Korea under the name Hyundai Comboy. What a mixed bag of dates, don't you think? I just don't understand. Now, sales at the time were unheard of for any console. Well, bear in mind there wasn't much out at the time, but 61.91 million was sold worldwide, and 19.35 in Japan. Yes, I am reading off notes, that's why my eyes are glancing. 34 million were sold in the USA, and the rest of the world was 8.56 million. That is a phenomenal figure for the period 1985, 86, 87. Out of this world. But we don't want to know that. We want to know boundary breakers. We want to know the games that actually push the system to the limits. Well, we're going to get to that right now, after I've had a drink. Tiny little factoid for you here. Did you know that no, never did I. No. Factoid here for you if you're interested. 13 colours were allowed to be displayed at any one time in the background for the background images, and 12 for the pixels. No, not pixels, sprites. I'm making a load of cock-ups on this video, aren't I? That is 25 in total. Yes, if I've calculated, that is right. But the processor unit could overclock itself and display every single colour all at once, which was 54, I do believe. So, yeah. No, it was 64. Not 50. 64! Get your fact right! Now, there were two games on the system that pushed the memory capacity of the cartridge to its absolute limits. Metal Slade Glory and Kirby's Adventure. They were both on cartridges, surpassed for its period 512 kilobytes. Yes, you heard right. 512 kilobytes. That is what these cartridges consisted of. In fact, probably you own a calculator with probably more memory than this. But at the time, it was unheard of. can either agree or disagree, but I feel that these are the ones that really pushed the hardware of the NES system. Batman Return of the Joker, simply because it rivaled any 16-bit counterpart. Not in the fact that it came out on the Super Nintendo, but it didn't. It's just visually, it had multi-layered backgrounds, the animation was super smooth, the details, the sound, the audio. I mean, when Batman crouches and you stand back up, the animation is so fluid, it would quite possibly pass as a 16-bit game. It looked that good. As you can see, the visuals in this game are no joke. Oh, I creased myself. But seriously, they are really that good. Well, you can see for yourself, can't you? And when I say sums up, I mean I don't really have to say any more of this game because it is that good. My second choice is Battletoads. Now, Battletoads, we all know, is a much loved and incredibly hard game, but visually, again, it's well animated, well structured. The audio, the actual soundtrack is fantastic. The visuals, second to none. I wouldn't say they're as good as Batman, but nevertheless, it really pushes the limits on the fact on the character sprites are really well drawn. Not to mention that the final level contains a tower scene where the rotating tower, a really good visual effect on the NES, which again, it was pushing limits on what it could actually do. And not to mention the Dark Queen, who some gamers probably found quite attractive. Name you've probably never heard of. No, neither did I until I'd researched this video of games that surpassed and looked beautiful and played well and pushed the games to the limits. Well, this one is one of them. And the title of the game I shall read from my little tablet here. Hono no Dujuki Dodge Danpei. Anybody? Have I pronounced that wrong? If I have, then please criticise me. Please, right below. I will put the name here of the. I'll just put it right about here somewhere. Hono no Duju Dodge Danpei. Something. Yeah. Now, the hard to pronounce Japanese game is nothing more than a dodgeball game. But it's not the actual dodgeball game itself that's impressive, it's the cutscenes, the multi-layered animation, which it's done in a style that looks like animation. It's done really, really well. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking graphically, because the actual in-game footage, which I will insert here. As you can see, the game itself isn't memory inducive, it's mainly the art style which really sucks up their numbers. Big anime style art like this would really task the system's memory. As you can see, the in-game footage isn't what you call astounding, but it's the actual cutscenes within the game that structure it to make a story, that give it that. I would say it really pushes the level of story, and I wouldn't say it pushes it in the sense of, like I say, graphics. It's just the momentum and the animation of the characters. The visual art style is drawn really well, so that's going to really number crunch on the system. So that's one of my reasons why I think this should be in the list. Now, I've got to say, there's going to be some horrible mentions on this list. They don't come up there as if they're breaking boundaries, but they're puzzle-based games. They visually look really, really nice. They're done in an animation style that works really well for the game, and therefore I feel that they should be on this list. One of them, which I think is a predecessor to a modern day counterpart, which I think is Lumo. Now, Lumo came out on the Switch, as we can see. Now, Solstice. You've probably heard of Solstice. It's an age-old isometric top-down 3D-esque puzzle platformer-ish type thing, whatever you want to call it. but it works really well. It's really challenging. It looks good. It sounds good. It plays really well. It doesn't push boundaries in that sense, but it's got that look as if it's a very intricate and well balanced, well made game, which to me in turn gives it that feel of a, I wouldn't say it's a hardware pusher, but to me it's got that edge, gives it that little push. And the other one that's also a isometric top-down 3D platformer, but this is actually a platformer, it's not a puzzle game, although there might be elements of it, Gremlins 2 on the NES. I mean, it visually has the feel of the movie. There are elements of it during the latter stages that don't really correspond to the film itself, but the cutscenes, which are done again in a style that look animated, but they're just literally just still images placed one after the other, but it works so well. It looks good, it plays good, it feels like it's pushing boundaries in the sense that because it looks so good, it feels like it's really crunching and really pushing the power of the system. But that's just my opinion. They're the ones for my personal list that would say it's breaking boundaries. My favourite, it's got to be Batman. It really has. Comic book style, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a fan favourite. Anime, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But like I said, this is my opinion of hardware pushers, boundary breakers, the limits to its the NES pushed. Now, like I say, it did have limitations with the CPU. It did have limitations with the colour palette. It did have limitations in the aspects of it couldn't do 3D graphics like most of the 8-bit consoles couldn't. But they did it in such a way, like Battletoads with the tower. It was done in such a way that it looked 3D, but it wasn't actually 3D. It really tested the system in that aspect. But like I said, if you can think of any other games that really push the limits, then please comment below. I'd be happy to receive your comments. Always up for a chat and your opinions. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, then please do. As always, I always appreciate every tiny little shred of love that you guys give to this channel. I really do. Every comment, every view means so much to me, whether it's 10 views, 20 views, 100 views. I'm blown away by the support that I get, and I thank you all. I really do. So close to 300, but hey, enough of that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you find it interesting, boring, that you come back and watch more of our content. If that's the case, then please follow us on Instagram, on LuMarkFosters07, I think then. On Twitter, we are Elialumnina. We are on Facebook, the Foster's Games Reviews, as a group, and obviously here. If you would like to share our content, then feel free. And as always, as I always say, thank you very much, and love life, and keep gaming. Thank you.